Okay, so now we are live. Well, actually, we're recording for YouTube. So for those of you who are watching later on YouTube or listening later on podcasts, just know that this is a place where you could also watch the show live on facebook.com/Lillian's radio show. And that's Lillians as in Sam radio show. So that's where you can find us, and then you can ask questions. So today I would love for it to be interactive. So while you're live, it would be great for you to ask any question that you would like, put the Q in front of it, and I will do my best to answer it during the broadcast. And if you're watching later on, I'll do my best to respond to you. But today we're going to talk about reconciliation, forgiveness, even if the other person does not want to partake in your vision. So fasten your seatbelts because we're going to learn and grow together. Here we go. It's time to dance.
The Lillian McDermott Show.
We love, we fear, bridges we burn, we make mistakes, then we live and learn. When life gets tough, and it seems like your best ain't good enough. If you're in need of hope, you know where I'll be right here. Right here, and when you need a friend, you can count on me. I'll be right here, waiting for
you. This is the place you can always turn to when you need a friend. The Lillian McDermott Show. To reach out to Lillian, visit her on the web at whenyouneedafriend.com. Now let's all learn together. Here's Lillian McDermott.
Hello, my listening and viewing friends. It's so nice we can meet each other on the air on this beautiful, best day ever. And for those of you who are new to the Lillian McDermott radio show, please know I've been waiting for you. This is a safe place where you can go to when you need a friend. It is my commitment to provide alternative ways to heal, and it is my vision to make awareness, responsibility, and truth a part of our everyday life. And I hope you, my listening, as well as my viewing friends, will feel empowered to embrace a new truth and live the life of your dreams. For many of us, living the life of our dreams means waiting for somebody else to make things perfect for us. But the reality is there's no such thing as perfection. Perfection is an illusion. We've spoken about this many times in the classroom. So today, I wanted to take the time because this question pops up all the time. And for those of you who are watching on Facebook, if you want to watch live on facebook.com/Lillian's radio show, just know that we have a little teacher's pet community. And if you have any questions during the broadcast, you are able to ask. So today we're going to be talking about reconciliation and forgiveness. Again, I started by asking the question, what do you do when you want to be connected to an individual that has no interest in being connected to you? You can jump hoops, you can leap mountains, you can do anything to make the relationship work. But if the other person is not a willing participant, it can become difficult. Now, if the other person is not a willing participant as far as to improve the relationship, but they like and enjoy your company, but they don't want anything more. Perhaps maybe there was a disagreement. Perhaps maybe you guys were like super duper friends at one point, or it just dissolved. Or maybe you had an argument or a disagreement. Maybe you have a different perspective on religion and politics, and you just can't see eye to eye. Maybe somebody said something and didn't realize the other side of that coin offended the other person. So there's so many different ways that a great relationship can fizzle out or can separate. Now, I get this request all the time, and when Brooke asked me, because this was going to be a week off for me, but it didn't turn out that way. So at the last minute, I said, I really want to talk about forgiveness and reconciliation, especially when the other person has no awareness that they can also improve the relationship. So today, hopefully we'll take lots of notes. I'm taking lots of notes too. This has happened to me as many times as probably has happened to you, maybe even more. And the reason why I say maybe even more is that I've been accused of seeing through people. I'm sorry. I've been accused of seeing through people. Just because I'm looking at them, they have felt that I see them and they do not want to be seen. I don't know if you get that. I don't know if that makes sense to you. But the individual I'm looking at, or maybe the individual you're looking at, sees themselves in you and is judging you the way they think you're judging them. That's another scenario that has happened so many times in people's lives. We just don't know how to deal with it. Perhaps the person hurts you, and it's you, the person, who needs to do the forgiving, the reconciliation. You're the one that needs to initiate it. Either way, the buck stops here today. How do we bring people together? And I want to encourage you, if you are watching on Facebook Live on Lillian's radio show or at Lillian's radio show, if you have any questions or share where you're watching from today, I would love, because I can't see who you are until you acknowledge yourself. And acknowledgement is a huge love language for me. When you acknowledge yourself and you let me know that you're watching or you're with me, it fills me. It's like currency to me. So understanding the other person and how you can love them back is important. We've had wonderful teachers in the classroom talk about the 5 love language. And those love languages, it's my responsibility. And when I say responsibility, and I've used the word responsibility in the classroom so many different times, responsibility is what makes the whole theme of the classroom. And it doesn't matter. We need to take ownership of our life, responsibility in different aspects, whether it's your career, whether it's your mind, body, spirit, whether it's relationships or giving back into the community. There is more to us, more to you than just the career person or the mom or the dad or the friend or the daughter or the son. There's more to you than that person. But how do you integrate all aspects of your life? Your career, your spiritual aspect, your body, you want to work out, your mind, you want to put good things into your mind, your relationships. There's a lot of people that are really good with career, but they're really bad at relationships. So they focus solely on their careers. But we want it all, and we want it now. And so when you look at every aspect of your life, that is how you can identify what's missing. What are the missing and key points that you want to focus on? And there are friendships. There are relationships in every single aspect. They're your spiritual friends, your friends that you work out at the gym, your book club. So that's the spirit, mind, and body. There's the career, finance, education. We have college friends. I just celebrated with a very good friend of mine, Carolyn, who just celebrated the birth of her 4th grandchild. And so there's a celebration there. And of 34 years has been our friendship. But there have been times where that friendship has not been as strong. And I could just walk away from that relationship. And I'm not talking about this particular relationship. I'm just using the context of a 34, 35-year relationship that we could have walked away many times, because so many times our lives had changed and go different directions. But when you share the core value of admiration or love, or maybe there's a relationship there, a story that keeps you together, like that's my cousin, or that's my niece, or that's my parent, and that's why you stay connected, or we went to college together, or we met at a very special time in my life. Whatever binds you, if there is a misunderstanding, first there needs to be awareness that there's something missing in the relationship, a gnawing awareness. Now, you can choose to ignore it and act like there's nothing wrong, and the next time you come together, you act like there's nothing wrong, you get along really great when you're together, and then when you go apart, you never talk to each other again, and you want more from that relationship. And again, I say, maybe there were words, and you've tried to say you're sorry, but the other person hasn't accepted your apology, or they said, yes, I accept your apology, but I'm really not going to get close to you ever again. I'm going to be guarded to you. So those are all scenarios that I want to share with you, just in case you've experienced it. Now, lack of forgiveness is like drinking poison. And we've heard Buddha say, lack of forgiveness is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. Another good one, a good image, is that lack of forgiveness or a hard heart is like picking up hot coal and throwing it at the other person. Think about it. When you pick up hot coal, you are burning your hand. You're burning yourself. So it is crucial. And they've done studies. And this is, I want to give you the scientific portion, the 101 scientific layman's term. When you harbor anything, whether it's resentment, judgment, lack of forgiveness, anything, when you hold it, and it says it in the scripture, whatever you hold bound on earth is bound in heaven. Whatever you loose on earth, what you loosen on earth, you loosen in heaven. So it's up to us. And then there was another time that I was sitting in a classroom setting, and in the classroom setting, they said, how you judge others on earth will be how you will be judged in heaven. Now, whether you believe in heaven or not, the concept is very real, that whatever you have in you will affect you. Whatever you release will be released in a very multifaceted level. And so when someone you love, maybe you want a closer relationship, maybe there hasn't been, just a bunch of different disagreements, nothing major that has just kept pushing and putting a wedge between a relationship. No matter what it is time. It is time to stop and say, okay, I need to do something different because I do not like where this relationship sits right now. And the question I always ask myself is this: if I die tomorrow, or that person who I'm holding resentment towards, if they were to die tomorrow, how important is whatever I'm holding bound? Would it be any different if that person were to die tomorrow and I knew it? Would I want to seek forgiveness, ask forgiveness? Would I run to that individual and say, I am so sorry that so many years went by? I know someone who's very dear to my life that didn't speak to their brother for 20 years. That brother eventually died. How do you reconcile from that? Well, the good news is you don't need the other person to reconcile. As long as you're reconciling within you in its true reconciliation, where you think of the individual and you do not wish them harm, or you don't have that in your stomach, or you don't have that in your heart. When you know that you have released it, you can be in the same room with that person without running away. You would seek that person, no matter what happens. You would seek that person and say, how are you? How have you been? I've missed you. Versus, I haven't heard from you in a long time. Where the heck have you been? There are different ways that we come across, me included, and when I say we, I mean I too, come included, where we mean well, but what comes out is not interpreted well by the other individual. How do we reconcile this? Well, today we're going to be talking about this. And I'm going to look down here to see some of the people that are, and Barbara, of course, teacher's pet, Sharon, both of you, wonderful. Some people are not worth forgiving. This is a huge subject for me. It would take too long to explain my situation. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what your situation is. That's where, and listen, you can love somebody from afar. There are people who are abusers. If there is abuse and someone is actually hurting you physically, emotionally, it's okay to love them from afar. Now, no one, and I will repeat this, no one is worth not forgiving. Everything is worth forgiving, because remember, it is internalized within you. And then you will implode. You will implode. They have done studies on this, and I was about to start talking about this. They've done studies on this, that when you hold resentment or anger or sadness and it's not resolved, it will go into a healing center in your body and it will sit there. They've got it down to whether it's your first chakra or the chakra on the top of your head or the one in the center of your eyes, whichever one it is there. And that's what these healings are, and they need to be cleared. No different than the spirit needs to be cleared or your lymphatic system needs to be cleared. There are so many different ways that we can do that. But how? So the first thing is awareness. Awareness that something has changed with that individual. What has changed with that individual? Maybe that's as good as the relationship is going to get. Maybe. And I'm going to show you this. I wanted to pull it up on my phone, because this has been the course that I've taken that's been the most significant in my life. And it's the chakra energy center chart, how it connects to health in our life. So I'm going to flash this, and when you watch this, you can maybe cut and paste it or copy it or take a picture of it. But this is where you've got your first chakra, and it will, if you have any issues with bones, joints, blood, immune system, and skin disorders, you have issues. The root cause is issues with that have not been dealt with, families, organization, issues with safety, security, sense of belonging. And that goes on all the way up the different chakras of your body. When I coach people, I listen to where there is any issues in the body, and I know where we can go to discuss and heal. Now, I've mentioned this many times, and thank you, Sharon. And there's two Sharons watching today, and Ashley. I'm so grateful for all of you coming in. There is a very, very important page on my website. It's called the 100% responsibility page. Those people that are not worth forgiving, quote unquote, it is worth all of us going through, whether you feel that you want to get closer to that individual or you feel that you want to build a stronger relationship with that individual. Then the 4 questions of responsibility, and I've shared these questions before, the 4 questions must be asked or answered with no shame, blame, fault, or duty. No shame, blame, fault, or duty. These are very important questions that you take whatever scenario it is and you take ownership of it. Because here's the thing, we are co-creators. And as co-creators, we are part of whatever happens in our lives. We are constantly attracting or repelling what we want or what we don't want. So the thoughts in our head, if I am thinking about what I don't want, and this took me so many years to get, if I am thinking about what I don't want, I attract more about what I don't want because it is what my attention is on, the negative of what I don't want. But what if I want forgiveness and reconciliation? Then I focus on forgiveness and reconciliation, whether the person is worth it or not, because I am worth it. Harboring resentment, and I will show you this again. Harboring resentment. This is a course I took with Dr. Mona Lisa Schultz. It's called Medical Intuition. Forgiving is, oh my goodness, I was just going to say, forgiveness is life-changing. Thank you. And Victoria, you have an update for me? The person, some 3 months, okay, I can't read this right now. Let me see. I got to get my little magnifying glass. That person, some 3 months ago later, has come to me and asked me to forgive. Oh my goodness. So here's the deal. Sometimes we think, and I'll finish the question. So Victoria and I had a conversation, and you have shared this before, Victoria, that you and I have discussed forgiveness, and we worked together on that. And she said forgiveness is life-changing, which is absolutely true. And this is an update, and she's sharing it with all of you, so I'm going to share it as well. We talked about a person 3 months ago, and that person who was withholding has come to them because Victoria decided to take ownership and responsibility. Whether she was at fault or not, that's not the point. The point is taking ownership. And how did that make you feel? How did that change you, Victoria? Because you chose to forgive somebody before they even knew they needed to forgive you, right? And she has been able to come back because she stood for what she wanted. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But if you continue to take ownership yourself, then it's like that light that keeps shining. But she had already forgiven her. Isn't that beautiful? Thank you so much, Victoria, for sharing, because that is true. So anytime we hold anything like that, it goes into our body. And maybe after the show, the classroom, I can go over the different, if you guys want this, I can go over through the different chakras and the illness that it causes in the body. And so that's just, you could take a snapshot when you see this in YouTube or on Facebook later on when you're watching on your phone. So this is very, very crucial. So you can't change the other person. And that's where the problem happens. You're trying to change them to be more like you, to see things your way, and that may never happen unless you take a stand for what you want. Yes. So Victoria says it was so beautiful. Absolutely beautiful to say to someone, hey, I got your back. I know we were both hurt on this one, but these are the 4 questions I asked. How did I create it? No blame, shame, fault, or duty. And most people have an issue with this one. And how did I create it? I was born to it, or I married into it, or I gave birth to you, or I had, whatever. Maybe, how did I create it? I showed up to the party. How did I create it? I said something negative about your favorite person, or Democratic or Republican or Libertarian Party. I said something about religion or whatever. Whatever you did to create it, take ownership of it. No blame, no shame, no fault, no duty. Then the second question is, now that I know how I created it, what are the gifts and lessons? And these questions are at whenyouneedafriend.com. And I would like for you to, you can read it. I give you an example of when a time in my life where I needed to take responsibility and how that turned out. So the second question is, what are the gifts and lessons? Listen, all of us make mistakes, but you can choose to just like kill yourself for it and shoot yourself in the foot for it. Or you can say, wow, there's a gift here. There's a lesson here. And I'm going to focus on that. Remember, what you focus on, you attract. And so you want to focus on learn and gift lessons. That's what you want to learn from. So even if it's a difficult situation, you are learning from it. So the third question is, what's going to be different? Now that I know how I created it and the gifts and lessons, what am I willing to do different? Well, maybe I'm not going to talk about government or political issues on Facebook or YouTube or whatever. Maybe I'm not going to make fun of different religions. Maybe I'm just going to embrace all religions. Maybe I'm going to, ask for forgiveness, or maybe I can say, please hold me to this light. Hold me to this. Let's have a safe word. Next time I come across a certain way, please let me know. Be willing to do something different. And then the fourth question is, now that I know how I created it, I know the gifts and lessons, I know what's going to be different, how am I going to use this to the greater good? How do you think I can do life coaching? I've experienced many of these things. I am not perfect. I am human, just like you. I have lots of growth opportunities. I could be ashamed of them, or I could take a stand and say, you know what? This was an ugly time in my life. And I'm going to tell you, it was an ugly time in my life. Maybe this is the best I could do at the time. I did not know better. So now that you become aware and you've gone through the process of taking ownership, now you're in a different place. And let me tell you, if you have more than one thing that people have wronged you, people have said things to you, people have done things to you, whatever is your somebody done, somebody wrong song, whatever that story in your head, a victim, it will take you in every situation from victim to empowered. When you're coming to someone who has resolved that issue, I'm coming to you taking ownership. And I'm saying, I am sorry. I am sorry. You can write a letter, because sometimes the other person, you might be afraid of their emotion and how they're going to respond. Sometimes all you need is to forgive them in your heart and act accordingly. Go to that individual, notice them, acknowledge them, invite them to tea. But if that doesn't work and there's still that distance for the other person, then maybe it's time to write a love letter. A letter of, I miss you. A letter of, I am not sure what I did, but I am willing to take ownership. And even if you disagree with their perception, it is their perception. But here's the deal. Max Planck said this many years ago, and I heard Wayne Dyer regurgitate it. And I love Wayne Dyer. And I love all the quotes that he re-quoted. And Max Planck said, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. So when you go through the responsibility that you start at, they did me wrong, but look all the gifts and lessons. Look what I learned. Look at the benefit. Look at how I am willing to change. Look at how much I've grown. And you go and you write a letter from that frame of mind. That other person hasn't done the work. That other person may not be willing. They may think that you're not worthy to be forgiven. And guess what? Whatever they hold bound will bind you too. And that's why it is important that you do the work regardless of whether the other person is willing to do it themselves. So, how do we do that? Again, go to whenyouneedafriend.com and go to the subscribe. Okay, I'm just going to tell you, you just need to subscribe right now, because you'll know who is part of the show, the classroom, who's going to be a part today. And you'll also get the broadcast sent to you, podcast sent to you via email that you sign up in. If you subscribe in YouTube, whenever I am on or there's a new YouTube video, you get a notification. There's so many ways to be connected. While you're there, I ask that you please click onto my sponsors page. Sponsors like Liberty Health Share. I have, go to libertyhealthshare.org. Of course, we have Keep Me Safe Organics. Keep Me Safe Organics is synthetic, non-toxic, and organic. Great products. And you can go onto my website and get 10% off by entering Lily10 for the entire purchase. And then there's First Alternative Care, which is for the entire household, 24/7 dermatology, family practice, non-urgent, and 3 hours a year of behavioral health counseling. And that is equivalent, that 3 hours for the entire household is worth 9 office visits. Go figure. And so that's, depending if you want the portal, is if you don't want the portal, it's $35. If you want the portal, it's $45, but worth it. The portal is worth it. It has so many different ways to take care of you as well. Dr. Stephen Grable, holistic, internal medicine, integrative, functional, and I am just so grateful that he is also my doctor. He's in Jacksonville Beach, worth the drive, and he's working with me right now to figure out, you know, after the explantation, how to tweak my hormones, my thyroid, all of that. So he's a great MD. Not only is he a medical doctor, he's a medical detective. So go to my website and check on my subscribers. And then the pharmacy and Live Longer Medical. So, you know, the pharmacy now has free prescriptions refills that, I'll just put that real quick, free prescription refills. You go there for the first time in Merritt Island, tell them I sent them, your first order is 20% off. And also Live Longer Medical, who is making you as beautiful on the inside as on the outside. So when you become aware and, oh, sorry, I'm just moving on because I really do want to talk about forgiveness and all the reconciliation and true reconciliation. Please figure out ways to support my sponsors the way they are supporting the classroom. Also, one more way that you can support the classroom, not only sharing and helping grow the classroom, but you could also be enrolled student. And as an enrolled student, I've got a nice, I don't even have it on right now, but we have little gifts that we give you if you become a enrolled student in the classroom. We have little gift packages. And so check it out and see if you can donate one time or every month. Whatever you can do to help grow the classroom is very appreciated. But let's grow together. Let's make the choice. It's not good enough. There is a new truth that I am trying to share with you. And it used to be eye for eye, tooth for tooth. But then a new truth came in, and it was turn the other cheek. And it's not be another victim, have them hurt you again. No, it's about becoming aware that we are all doing things to one another without knowing that you are also a part of it. What you do, what you say, your judgments that you don't want to acknowledge, the way you view the other person. And I can tell a lot about an individual when they're talking to me about the person that they are upset with. They tell me everything that they see in them, and you see in others who you are. How does that happen? How is it that you could be so angry at an individual that is you? Think about it. And the question to ask is, how does that individual remind me of who I am? That's real growth. That is real growth right there. When you can look at the other person and go, how does she or he remind me of me? That's true awareness. And when you can sit there and answer that and be honest with yourself, you're at a different level, baby, because you are becoming aware. Now, what can you do? Asking to speak to someone may, depending on their personality, they may not be ready for it. And they may be pushing you away and come across as defensive. No need to defend here. Feelings are the way they are. Vulnerability is probably the best word to explain the frame of mind, no matter what. Because if you have a choice to love or hate, you're really making a choice of love and fear. Because hate is a subset of fear. So if you're looking at the word hate, that means there's something about that person that is causing you fear. What is the fear that that person is instilling in you? The more you are aware of how you feel, the more you can change the way you look at things. You want to change the world? Change yourself. Because when you change yourself, it is amazing how the world changes because your perspective changes. So when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. I have a friend a long time ago. She thought her father was the worst, until one day she asked, and he had been dead for many years. And she was in that place where she could no longer hate him. And when she chose to release it, she discovered that it was her that was the horrible daughter. Because when you think about it, you are who you are. And when you accept the other person as they are, flaws and all, then you enter into a new relationship, a new level. And I don't know if what I'm saying is, let me see, I'll look down. Barbara Scott, they're looking for things in a different perspective. Let me see what it says. Okay, it says they are looking all things in their perspective. Yes, they are. Of course. So are you. So is everybody. We all have ourselves. And Victoria, you are a champion on forgiveness, aren't you? Forgiveness will set you free. It will do. It will do that. I have been through so much hurt. I cannot change how I feel. I'm not asking you to change how you feel. I'm asking you to forgive. I'm not asking you to condone. I'm asking you to acknowledge and say, I cannot change it, but how can I heal me? Because this is what we need to get today. And Victoria, I know that you could probably say something because this is so important. How can I help you understand that forgiveness is not for the other person? Not necessarily. It's for you. And when you don't forgive, you are holding yourself in a cage. You are holding yourself captive. And you can use, and there was another quote from Wayne Dyer that I heard. It's not the snake bite that kills you. It's the venom that runs through your blood. So the situation occurred. The situation occurred. And perhaps, Barbara, you could use some one-on-one work. And maybe that'll help you see. Maybe I'm not explaining it the way I'm, and I don't want anybody to change the scenario. But we have made up stories in our head. We have made up stories in our head that will convict or set somebody else free. And true for ourselves, it'll convict us or set us free. So if it's the other person and you write them a loving letter coming from that place of vulnerability, coming from that place of how did I hurt you? Did I, and by all means, do not if they hurt you, this is not the time to write them a letter. You did this, you did that, you did this, you did that. So if you choose, after you take the 100% responsibility, and you know that you just want to create change, you're not okay with the way things are, not because you want to fix them or fix the other person, but because you want to heal inside. So there are some ground rules, and these ground rules I made up. So you can make up your ground rules too, but I've made up these ground rules in order to work with people that maybe I've hurt, or maybe they have hurt me. But there are some ground rules to get beyond the hurt feelings. And once you get beyond the hurt feelings, you might say, gosh, because of this scenario, I can now have compassion towards blank. Because of this, because of divorce, because of infidelity, because of loss, because of whatever, I now have compassion for fill in the blank. That is a gift and a lesson that you would never learn had you not gone through whatever trauma it is. No matter what it is, you deserve to get out of the cage and live life without that pressure of feeling. And I will show you again that what happens to your body, this is what happens to your body. We'll start with, let me see. We'll start with chakra 1. Look at that. Chakra 2, chakra 3, chakra 4, chakra 5, chakra 6, chakra 7. So it affects the entire body. And let me tell you, I went through that and I found reasons why I had a thyroid condition, reasons why I had issues with my skin, because I needed to heal that. And you know what? And healing is at different levels. Just when you think you healed somebody or forgiven somebody, oh my God, something else comes up that you weren't ready to heal. And then it comes up, and then you heal that one again, and then it comes back, and then it heals that one again. So here are some of the ground rules to bridge the gap if you decide you're going to write a letter to that individual. Let me take a little sip. Okay. First one, I, not you, only I terms. I feel this way, not you made me do this, you made me do that, because that is giving away your power. It is not real. It's a story in your head. It's an illusion. Yes, you reacted to them, but I reacted. I reacted. And trust me, I am not perfect. I react too. I want to blame too. I sometimes hold on to it, but I know better. I know what it's doing to me. I can't sleep. I can't eat. I don't like how I feel, whatever it is. So only use I terms if you're going to write a letter. It's I feel. Not I feel you did this to me. I feel when this happens to me, I get this way. I. Okay. Number 2, learn and understand the other person's perspective, because they're going to write back. So the person who's receiving this is going to start looking at this through your set of eyes, right? And so there's got to be a mutual, if you're going to write this letter, start with the ground rules. First, you can start with how you've been feeling, and perhaps maybe there's something going on, and I just want to take ownership and ask for forgiveness, whatever it is. And you never know. The other person could be going, oh, yikes, I need to ask for forgiveness too. So isn't that a much better cycle than I resent you, I'm never going to talk to you, you'll never step foot in my house, which, by the way, if there's abuse, deal breaker, just hear me out, abuse, but you can still forgive the abuse. You don't have to let them in. There's a difference between trust and forgiveness. So, okay, so learn to understand the other person, even if you don't agree. How can I ever be friends with those people? That is the question you ask when you are totally in judgment. Okay, so no defending your feelings. So if the other person writes to you, And they say, well, this is what happened and this is how I'm perceiving it. You don't need to defend. Look at their perspective. Doesn't matter if they're right or wrong. You didn't mean to hurt them. You didn't mean to talk over them or say something unkind. You didn't mean it. But you can still, if the other person is hurt, you can still take ownership of it, because you got to be ready for the response. So no defending feelings. Feelings are neither right or wrong. They are what they are. Acknowledge, number 4, acknowledge the other person and the other person's pain. So, I'm sorry you feel this way. This must have hurt you, whether you agree or not. This is how they've been feeling. That's the only way you're going to get past it. Then focus on what they want. Focus on what we want and hold the relationship to the highest level. Then that would be 5. Number 6, move towards reconciliation. Find commonality and respond from a place of love. Many years ago, I did a show on Hinduism. And in that show, and in the classroom, at the time it was the show, now it's the classroom, I said, embrace Hinduism. Well, one of the stations I was on was a Christian station. And I was told that because I said that, I was offensive. And not only was I offensive, but I was going to hell because I said, embrace Hinduism. I didn't mean to say, become a Hindu. I just wanted people to understand, to embrace the people, understand what we have in common is love and all those things. And we can separate ourselves by saying, you are different than me, or we can unite in saying, wow, what do Hinduism and Christianity have in common? What do Muslims and Hindus have in common? What do Christians, Muslims, and Hindus have? What does an atheist have in common with me? Love. Love. So let's focus on that commonality. And this person who I was having this conversation with, we got along great. And there were things I knew we were difference of opinions. But the moment we started talking about what I did wrong and how I was going to hell, we forget the 90% that's good in the relationship, and you focus on that 10% that's horrible, and you're willing to walk away, you're willing to do all these things. But the reality is, you say what you need to say, you explain that was not my intention, and you move on. Now, when you walk away, you might be upset at the whole situation. Take ownership. I did say, embrace Hinduism. I did say it. What are the gifts and lessons? I need to be clear with what I say. And there's going to be misunderstandings, and that's okay. And I am very much okay with somebody seeing things different than me. But don't try to change me if I am not ready to change. Accept me for who I am. And in return, I'll do the same for you. It's not eye for eye, but it is reciprocal. So those are the five rules that if you're writing a letter, again, I statements. Number 2, learn to understand the other person's perspective. Now, you've gone through the 100% responsibility page, but they have not. So with you, because you're initiating this, that's that number 2 is like come to that understanding from going from victim to empowered. Number 3, no defending of feelings. I feel this way, and that's why I feel this way. And when they respond back to you and they say, I feel this way, acknowledge, I am sorry that you feel this way. This must have hurt you. That was not my intention. That was not my intention was to blank. Not defending. You can say, but I still understand how you could have misunderstood what I had to say or took this the wrong way. Those are just conversations that I'm trying to give you words to say. Okay, number 3, no defending. Feelings are. Acknowledge. Number 4 is acknowledge the other person's pain. Number 5, focus on what we want, what you want, which is reconciliation. What do you take So number 6 is move towards that reconciliation. Find common ground. All the things that you have shared, the laughter that you have had, all those things. And I will, right after I just want to let you know, all of you, my little teacher's pets, and friends, I am going to acknowledge all, because I know that there's people writing, and I just want to stay with the thought and finish my thoughts for reconciliation. You might write a letter and there will be no response. And that's okay too. Be ready for that. That's okay too. Just say, I am being invitation. I am being invitation. I am releasing all that is in me. Now it's up to the other person. If the other person chooses not to reconcile, it's okay. And the reason why is because you released it. They might release it at a different time. It may not be their time. And own it, respect it, say it's okay. Now you can continue being loving, even if they don't respond to you. That's why when you send an email, send it reply receipt or return receipt or whatever it is. That way you know that they at least received it. So be understanding that they might be angry and they're going to lash back at you. But use that lashing back as an opportunity to say, I've gone through this process. I'm going to go through the ground rules, and I am going to acknowledge the other person by saying, I am sorry for the way you feel. And then try to come up with a game plan. How can we move forward? How can we build? Maybe you can offer having tea together, or saying, I love you. We may not agree on this one, but can we say that we have so much more in common than we don't? And again, there's so many different things. So you can share your intention. You can offer suggestions and some tips. Again, focus on reconciliation, be kind, resist hurting the other person the way you've been hurt. Give the benefit of the doubt. Give up being right. Give up being right about them not being worth forgiving. Give up being right, because being right is a part of the ego. And when you are in your ego, you will never be satisfied. Be in your essence. And I can do a class on the ego, because there are 4 questions you ask yourself to know whether or not you're in the ego. And so, but I want to stay focused on the importance of letting go and releasing. Tune into your intention. Your intention is to create a bond, or your intention is to release. You may write this letter and never send it out to the person, but you got it out. Just recently, I was having a very painful experience, and it was in me, and I knew I needed to get it out. So I sought the help of somebody that was allowed me to share without trying to fix how I felt. They listened, they acknowledged me, and they said to me, it sounds to me like the other person will not, is not, and is not ready to reconcile. They just want to be right. They want to be angry. They want to push you away. And I ended that conversation feeling valued. I felt by that individual that they heard my pain. And then I went through the questions of responsibility, and then I wrote my letter, and then I sent my letter. Now, we're still in the process of that reconciliation, and we're still in the process going back and forth, which could never go anywhere, but I am okay with it. I am okay with it because I did my work, because this body is perfectly made. And if I need to tweak it, because there's so many of us don't know that a heart attack, even things that we do, the way we eat, the way we think, the way we talk, is us punishing ourselves. The subconscious mind runs our body, and the subconscious mind are those thoughts that we don't even know we're having, those 70,000 thoughts that we're having in a day, of which 90% are repetitive, and 80% of those thoughts are negative. So it's about rewriting the program of that moment. Yes, it was painful. Yes, it was horrible that they did that to you. But how are you going to use it for the greater good? How are you going to use it to build and get stronger? How are you going to use it to set yourself free? You may not be able to see that person as a person who is worth forgiving, but think of that person as a child who was mistreated. Think of that person who's hurting. Think of that person who's doing the best they could with what they have, and now you are at a place that you are now ready to bridge that gap. How will you do it? How will you create that peace and joy? There was a meme that was just posted, which is, we tell people to rest in peace. Why is it that we must rest in peace? Why not live in peace? And I believe that that is such a powerful way to end. We're not done, because we're going to continue the conversation after the podcast is recorded. You can always join us at whenyouneedafriend.com, at Lillian's radio show, at Facebook. But any way we can, it is important that we forgive. Love is the answer to all our problems. At least you love. Even if you're rejected, at least you love. Please remember, I'll be right here waiting for you worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. This is Lillian McDermott wishing you love, peace, joy, and unexpected abundance. Make it the best day ever.
The opinions and advice expressed on the Lillian McDermott radio show are intended for the individual callers and guests on the program and are presented to our wider audience solely for general educational purposes. Please act responsibly and consult personally with your own medical, psychological, or nutritional expert before taking any steps to improve your life.
Okay. So I hope that what I said, because honestly, when I speak to you from the heart. I may have some bullet items that I have, but I really do speak to you from my heart. So if it came out and you have any questions, type in a Q. Like if you okay, can you explain this a little bit better? Type in a Q. But right now I'm going to go through the list and I'm going to see what with the questions. So let's see. Oh, Barbara, you're married to it. Okay. What are you married to? Let's see. Let me go back. So I am just so grateful to Barbara, Sharon, Ashley, Victoria. I said Barbara, and and Jenny. Good morning. Good morning, Jenny. And I am going to go back and I'm going to look at all your questions. So stay here because we're going to go through these questions and your comments. Okay. This is very difficult to get. Forgiveness is for you. Forgiveness is for you. Now, it's great if the other person wants to reconcile and forgive. Sometimes you just got to do this yourself and let it go and let it be. The ball's on the other person's court, and you've got to constantly tweak. And if you forgave at this level, you might need to forgive at this level, and then forgive at this level. Every time you recall it, something might come up. Okay, so with that in mind, I'm going to go back and I'm telling you, Victoria, I told Victoria that she will have a reconciliation story and be able to teach others how to forgive because she went through the process. And because of it, she now knows what I'm talking about. It is so important. Okay, so Barbara, if you're married to it, you're in choice. You're in choice. And I've done a lot of, if the other person, okay, when it comes to marriages, I don't know what the situation is, but okay, I want to be very careful because I am all about being married, and but I'm not about just being married. I'm about being happily married. And I say this, and my husband and I laugh when I say it now, but there was a time I would have walked away from our marriage. It was when we were married 7 years. It was a major, major thing that happened in our lives. And I walked away from the marriage. And my father, And of course, my husband was key. He wanted to make things right. And my father, I remember my father begging me to give him one more chance. And trust me, it wasn't because I was perfect, but it was because of the situation, the reoccurring argument that kept happening. And I remember Robert asking me to give him a chance to prove to me that he had changed. Now, there wasn't physical abuse. There wasn't any of that. So again, deal breaker, if there's physical abuse, make a plan, get out. I've done enough shows on that. So I don't know what your situation is, Barbara, but all I know is that sometimes it's about being right, not about being loved or being loving. And until I counsel with both of you, I won't know how to do it, but you can do the assessment. I married it. So how, how do you learn, what's the gifts and lessons, how did you create it? The gifts and lessons, what's going to be different? And how can you use this for the greater good? So here's the thing I told my husband when he asked me to give him a chance. I said, I'm going to give you 6 months. And if in 6 months I don't see the changes, I'm done. I'm done. And in that 6 months, there was incredible change. But still, over 25 years, we've had to tweak that. And I have a joke. I say, I renew Robert's contract every 6 months. So we are married. And even though we're married, every 6 months, I renew his contract because every 6 months, there might be some things that we need. And he might renew my contract sometimes. So there are some, get the blame and the shame. And really, if you love one another, if that husband of yours were to die tomorrow, would you be happy? Would you be relieved? Is that what setting yourself free would be? Because you're going to be carrying that with you. Oh, I wish they were alive so that I can have this conversation with them. Those are the questions we need to ask ourselves. So, Victoria, I feel the same way, but we are worth it. It was for me, not for them. Yes, that is what forgiveness is for. It's for you. It's for me. Okay, they are looking for all things in all perspective. Okay, I already responded to that. We all do. Their perspective is their perspective. Can you sit with their perspective just a little bit and say, you know what? If I saw things this way, I would be upset too. How can we work together? That's the question with your husband. How can we work together so that this perspective can be rewritten with something that we both can win? How can we both win? That's the question. It might be a simple question, but it is. Okay, so we're now down to Victoria. I wrote a letter and said everything I felt and all the hurt, etc. And then so you threw the letter away. So then you followed that. So you let it go, release it, dump it. Now, even after you write it down and you release it, you still have to do the work, because the way you forgive somebody is by, why do you think I send you love, peace, joy, and unexpected abundance? Those were the 4 words: love, peace, joy, and unexpected abundance. Someone tried to hurt me. Was it financially? Tried to ruin my character, tried to do all these things. And I knew it, but I knew I was feeling angry and it was hurting me. And my thoughts, all of it was hurting me. And so I started the process of forgiving just by wishing them love, peace, joy, and an abundance, an unexpected abundance. I wish that for them. What you wish onto others comes back to you. So if you wish them to go to hell, guess what's going to come back to you? If you wish them love, peace, joy, and the more you wish that, you start rewriting the program. At first, it might be, oh, I wish them love, peace, joy. But then, once you get to that place, I was able to find that person later on and tell them I love them. They taught me some lessons and how to protect myself. They taught me some lessons and how to love unconditionally. That's a great way to love, unconditionally. What does that look like? It hurts. It hurts sometimes to love that person as they're perceiving life, regardless of if they're wrong. So let's rewrite it. How can that perception change? What can I do to show you that I am willing to work with you? Okay, so I don't know what I said. Maybe Barbara, you were replying to Victoria about writing the letter and throwing it away. Okay, so Sharon, how do we feel? How do we heal the hurt feelings? Do we have to just let it no matter anymore? Let it not matter. Oh, okay, that's what it says, not matter anymore. My font is really, really small, so it's really hard for me. Okay, Sharon, why do we want to forgive? Because it hurts you. The situation occurred. Whatever happened occurred. How you recall that situation will make a difference. We can tell ourselves the victim story, or we can tell ourselves the empowered story. Which story is real? And the answer to that is neither is real. It's whatever we want to make it. So if you answer the 4 questions of responsibility, again, go to whenyouneedafriend.com, subscribe, and hold on a second. Subscribe, and let me see. I must have hit something here because I paused the delay here. So subscribe and grow. It's not forgive and forget. It's forgive and grow. What are you learning from this? Okay, go to my 100% responsibility page. Okay, so Sharon, it does matter. It happened. Acknowledge it. Process it through the 4 questions. Release it. If you need somebody else, because we don't need to give our power away, this is between you and you. Forgiveness is between you and you. You and God. God is in you, so it's between you and you. So with that in mind, it's the way we recall the story, like a third party, like you're looking at a movie and you're seeing it, but not that you numb yourself from the emotion, but that you realize the purpose for the pain, the message in the mess, the message in the mission. What does it do? How do you do it? Okay, so forgiveness of others is usually not an issue. Okay, however, forgiveness of myself is always difficult for me. I'm hard on myself. Yeah, sure. I'm sure you are. We all are. Stand in line. And so here we go. How do we stop it? How do we stop that? We rewrite the program. Dr. Bruce Lipton has been a teacher in the classroom, and you can look it up. It was back in, I think, 2015, and he's done a couple of classes with us. And he talked about epigenetics. It's the thought. We have 70,000 thoughts a day. Of those 70,000 thoughts, 90% of them are repetitive, and 80% of them are negative. So how do we rewrite the program? That first 7 years of life created your subconscious mind. You were a human tape recorder. What's this? What chakra is this? It's the 6th chakra. Okay, so let's look at this. If you're having issues with that, this is how it manifests in your life. When you're having issues here, you're having issues with your brain, headaches, migraines, you have ears, depending on what's going on, you're having eye disorders. This is the 6th chakra. This 6th chakra is what I think, this is my opinion, I haven't heard anybody else say this, but the 6th chakra is our little recorder that Bruce Lipton talks about. It's recording it the first 7 years of your life. For me, it was 10. For the first 7 years of your life, it's recording it, and those tapes become your subconscious. mind. That is what's running the show. Your subconscious mind is running the show. When you are driving, you're in your subconscious mind. When you are, walking or doing something that, you're not, like right now, I'm in my conscious mind. I cannot rely on my subconscious mind because there's just too much. It's a program. So Bruce Lipton, when he was in the classroom many years ago, he talked about this psych-k. And my nephew just sent me an email or a text saying, hey, have you looked into this? And I looked into it, and I'm obsessed with it to the point where I asked Brooke, my new right hand, to schedule time learning about psych-k. And it's a way to rewrite the program, no different than you upload a file, cut and paste the file, and rewrite something else in the file. That's simple. And I am looking into it because there are programs that run in our mind. We don't even know they're there. They're so deep, 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 deep. And whatever it is that we cannot forgive may be a result of, so the problems, the bodies, and how it implodes in your body. I talked about the sixth chakra, the brain, the ears, the eye disorder. It has to do with perception. It has to do with thought and morality. And so those are embedded in us from the moment we are born. But maybe those beliefs, and I've shared this before about the word belief. I was staring at my vision board, and that word belief was in there. And I noticed the center of belief was lie. And I asked myself, what is at the center? What is the lie at the center of my belief? There are so many lies in our head. So we need to rewrite the program. And thank you so much, Jenny, for, or was it Sharon? Yes, it was Jenny. It's hard to forgive yourself. You're working on yourself. And so forgiveness of self is huge. So if you have issues, health issues, they will get away from you. They will start healing because your body is holding on to it. And once you start that forgiveness process, especially of yourself, go to the 100% responsibility page, all of you. Answer all the questions with no fault, no shame, no blame, no duty. Responsibility has a bum rap, and we're using it incorrectly. Fine, I'll take responsibility. No one else will do it. I guess I will have to. Blame, shame, fault, duty, all in that one sentence. So, how do you forgive yourself? Start writing. Start journaling. Get it down on paper. Write down what it is you want to change. Maybe all the things that they have done to you. Write it down. 1 page per topic. 1 page per topic. Answer 4 questions. Go through those 4 questions. You start a victim. You end empowered. I've done it so many times. It's the only way that I know I am doing a process. And forgiveness is a process. Trust the process. So if you're the one that needs to forgive yourself, you owe it to yourself. You're worthy. You are an incredible individual who deserves to be loved and be loving. That's all we want. We want to know that we matter. But guess what? Whatever you're doing, whatever I'm doing, if those thoughts in the back of my head are saying, I'm unworthy, I don't deserve this, or whatever, that's going to be the rest of your life. So look at your life, because how you show up in your life, or how you show up at work, how you show up with your friends, how you show up in your family, it's you. It's you. So rewrite the program, because it could be your perception. Maybe everybody loves you, but you don't love yourself. So when you don't love yourself, nobody loves you, because that's how you're perceiving yourself. Does that make sense? Okay, so let me go. Jenny, for me, it has helped by writing down how I feel. I do not necessarily write a letter, but I journal. It seems to help a great deal. Yeah, writing it down helps, but are you reconciling? Are you understanding the purpose for your pain? Are you understanding the message behind the mess? Are you understanding? And maybe you don't need to understand, but can you rewrite who you are? Just like I said, And there's that quote that says, those who think they can and those who think they cannot are both right. Are both right. Why is that? We are right about what we believe. So I had to be right about the lies about my belief and start rewriting the program. I am loving. I am, conscious. I am considerate. I am kind. I am worthy. So Jenny, let's see. Sarah, I'm glad that this is helpful. I'm glad that this is. I don't remember who directly said this, but it is powerful. Your words is your wand. Your word is your wand. That's good. Probably in what was it? Harry Potter. Just never know. Your word is your wand. Yeah, it's true. You make these. You make things. Not my family members. Okay, not your husband. Okay. So it's still no different. Figure out a way. Listen, I've had to go back to my children and ask for forgiveness. I've had to go back to my children and ask for forgiveness. I did the best I could with what I had. I'm not making excuses, but I'm willing to work with them so that I can love them the way they deserve to be loved. I don't care if you gave birth to your children or they married into it or what. How can you change your perspective? How can you love that person the way they want to be loved? What would it look like if you said, I have been a bad friend to you? How can I make it up to you? And you would say, I've been a bad friend because they maybe shared how you responded a time or two. Wow, I said that. I did say that. I am so sorry. How would it look like if vulnerability became a part of your reconciliation journey? For you not to be right. And I'm not just talking to you, Jenny. I am, or you, Barbara. It doesn't matter who it is. Forgiveness is for you. And we rub people the wrong way. I rub people the wrong way. People rub me the wrong way. How do we get along? We look for commonality. We find, what do I have in common with that individual? Even if they rub you the wrong way, poke you in the eye, you can still find commonality. They fell in love with a family member of yours. Had a friend ask me, how do you like my partner? My response was, you love them, I love them. And my job is to figure out ways to love them. That's my job. Whether I like them or not, whether they make my eyes roll in the back of the head or not, I happen to believe that. Whether it's your child who married someone, gosh, how many times will your children disappoint you? But how many times will we disappoint our children? But you can't come to your children or people that in your family from a place of superiority. We're equals. I am no longer, the mother I am to my children is no longer the mother that raised the kids. I raised my kids in fear of making a mistake, fear of so many different things. And you know what? What you think, again, who was it? Jenny. The powerful word is a wand. Hocus pocus. I don't want to marry an alcoholic. Boom, I'll marry an alcoholic. You focus on. So what you focus on is marry a sober person. I'm going to marry a sober person, I don't want to marry an alcoholic. And then you go for the alcoholic because you focus. The brain does not distinguish between do and don't. It just knows the command. So be very, very guarded of your thoughts, especially as you're working to rewrite the program. Okay, so let me go back. Now, Sharon, oh, Michelle, Denise, thank you so much for joining us. Absolutely. Pray for them. Pray for them, but pray for them in a way that is uplifting. Not, I'm praying for all the sinners out there. Oh, God, they're so horrible. I am praying for them because I'm better than them. That's not the kind of prayer I'm talking about. And I know, Michelle, you're not talking about that prayer. It's wishing them, holding them. Please, Lord, let them know I love them unconditionally. Please, Lord, send them the abundance, the love, whatever it is. That's the prayer. Help us find a way back to each other. Help me be the solution to the problem. And love is the answer to the solution of all our problems. Unconditional love. Again, abuse, deal breaker. That person has to be well for a long time, 6 months to a year, before you may be able to bring them into your fold. Trust and forgiveness are two totally different things. Trust is something that takes a lifetime to build and a second to lose. Forgiveness is a choice. It's a choice. Okay, so Sharon Watkins. Okay, that's why we forgive the dead, because their ego is no longer in the room. Let's forgive them before. Let's go. That's why the dead become our angels and saints, or someone who gives you the shirt off their backs. Absolutely. Their ego has died. Now the dead only duty and responsibility is to you, and to look at your ego from the other side. Sure. Very good. Very good, Sharon. I believe that that's what our brain does. It tricks us. And there's a Spanish quote that says, everyone who dies is an angel. Everyone who dies, and they may be just a horrible, miserable person. And when they died, they were a horrible, miserable person. But how you focus on them is maybe they were a hurt child. Maybe they were abused as children. We will never know. But when you love somebody from their essence and you give them the benefit of the doubt, now that doesn't mean you have to tolerate their crap. You don't. You can tell them that this is not acceptable. Let's come up with some plan. When this happens again, how are we going to deal with it? How are we going to deal with it? So thank you, Sharon. Okay, so Jenny, in response, I am just now beginning to rewrite the program of me. Very good, very good. Hey, Maria, so nice to see you. And Jenny, learning and growing just a little every day. Isn't that what it's all about? If you think you know it all, draw a chalk line around you, because you are dead. That is so important, that you come from a place of, what else am I going to learn about this? My children are great teachers. They really are great teachers. And so I'm learning a lot from my children. I'm learning that the children today, like, I love my parents because they're my parents, and I love them because I choose to love them. And I see them now at 88, 89, and 86. I see them as children. And boy, I can't imagine holding any resentment towards my parents. Even if they hurt me, I have been able to go through that process and rewrite it in a way that I am able to learn. But I don't know if the next generation, our children, our children's children, will understand the importance of forgiveness. And I really believe there's a new consciousness out there, that we're coming back. We're returning back to that awareness that our thoughts, we are what we think. Not only are we what we eat, but we are what we think. We are, because first it's the thought, then it's the feeling, and then it's the action. So there are so many different ways that we can learn and grow when it comes to a situation. And if you need a little bit more explanation, please know I'm a life coach. And I can help you through this process. Because of my life, I have learned to love unconditionally. Again, disclaimer. If they are physically, emotionally, and they're unwilling to change, sometimes you got to walk away from that person and then heal yourself, forgive them, go through that process on your own. So abuse is something totally different. So hear what I'm saying, which is whatever is the issue that is holding you back is also making you sick. Dr. Lee Cowden, who's going to be in the classroom, well, if you subscribe, you'll know when it is, but Dr. Lee Cowden is either on tomorrow or on Thursday, but Dr. Lee Cowden said it beautifully. He said, we focus on the body. And that's what we take pills for the body, we eat well, we work out, we do all the stuff that we want to do. And then all of a sudden the body's still malfunctioning. And so Dr. Lee Cowden said, if we just heal the spirit and the mind, the body will heal. Because you could be taking all the right nutrients and eating the right way, all right. But if in your spirit you want to be right about somebody else being wrong, and if that's what's motivating you, and you just can't let go of being right, then the body is going to absorb it. So do yourself a favor. Listen to this over and over again. Listen to I am affirmations. But if you could be saying I am all you want, but there's a little voice inside of you that's called your intuition, the voice of God, because God lives in you. That voice, that intuition, when you say I am beautiful and you get, oh, you're so ugly. No, you're not. If you're saying those things, it doesn't matter how many times you say it, unless you truly rewrite that program and say, you know what? Why do I think I'm not beautiful? What is it? Can I change anything about it? Can I embrace this aspect of me? What is it that I need to do? And of course, I've gone through that too. When I was 33 or 32, I had breast augmentation because I thought that made me complete. Bull. It doesn't. It gives you a satisfaction temporarily. And it may have gotten a good run, 23 years. But the reality is that when we do the work and we become vulnerable to ourselves, and we can say, okay, I did hurt you. And maybe how I said it did hurt you. I am truly sorry. And truly mean it. Not sorry or Geely from oh gosh, Saturday Night Live. Sorry. You really mean it. Feel their pain, whether you intended to do it or not. If you need to ask for forgiveness, like that person in your family that will not look at you or is upset with you, write them a love letter. I know I've hurt you. I just don't know how. Help me understand. What did I say? What did I do? Help me understand. But be ready. When they come back and said, you're so judgmental, you do this, you do that, whatever it is, I am so sorry I made you feel that way. That was not my intention. Feel their pain. How can I make this right? What can I do? How can I say it next time so it doesn't hurt your feelings? Or you can say, well, if you think that bothered you, this is what you did to me. Isn't that what we do? Right fighting. Boom, 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 boom. And you know what? We all do it. I do it, even if I'm aware. But you know what? You get back on that saddle again. You get back on your saddle and you say, oh, I need to be vulnerable here. I need to feel their pain. Yes, I understand. This is how I made you feel. I'm sorry. How can I make it better? What can I do? And then you put it on the other person. You have cleaned it. You have wiped it clean, like scrubbing bubbles. They work hard, so you don't have to. Boy, that's telling you my age, huh? Okay, so okay, there's a couple of comments here. I am feeling well. Thank you so much for asking. Yesterday was my 5th week post-operative. Thank you. Every day is, I've got lots of scars, and I'm going to talk about the products that I use for healing modalities that I've used for my car accident. But the scars go deeper than just the surface. So I'm working on the superficial scars, but after the scars are healed, I'm going to work with microcurrent technology, pulse electromagnetic frequency. And so I will share that with you. But for now, I am doing well. I went to the gym yesterday, did a little light workout. So life is good. It's coming back to normal, but it could take me a year or two. I need to be patient with my body. I just had some blood work done. I think my thyroid is off. I think my hormones are off. I'm doing some spiritual cleansing, some inventory of things that I need to make right. Even if the other person doesn't want to make it right, that's fine. I still can do it myself. Okay, so but thank you. And so let's see. Mine was family too. So it doesn't matter who it is. And I think that's what you're saying, Victoria. It doesn't matter who it is. Forgiveness is for you. The benefits are beyond. I can have Mona Lisa Schultz. She's an MD, PhD. And I could go over these really quickly, but I want to point out that these are healing chakras. Take a look at this. Do you find yourself in any of these? Hold on a second. Sorry. Do you find yourself in any of these? Oops, here we go. Just give it some time. I did this with myself. It's the emotional issue, the health problem. Okay? So this is something I did, and believe me, every single chakra had something I needed to cleanse. And every time you do it at a deeper and deeper and deeper level. So please understand that it's not like you breathe once and go, "Whew, God, I'm so glad I just finished breathing because I am not going to do that again." No, forgiveness is like breathing again and again and again and again. And sometimes we breathe shallow and sometimes we breathe deeper, but it's a breath. It's like breathing. We might have to, let you just sit with your body and see where you feel. And that's what happens. You just go, can I post the picture? I might be able to, but just keep in mind, this is not my work. It's the work of Mona Lisa Schultz, and I can have her on too. We can discuss the different chakras and what it means. We could have her on to discuss it because we have done this before, but some of you are new to the classroom, and perhaps it's time to talk about this again. But I love learning about this, and Mona Lisa has even higher, which is from here up is our relationship with God, and from here is our relationship with self, the chakras. And they have known that if something happens, let's say that you've had past trauma and you refuse to forgive that. Let's say maybe it's your great-grandmother that was molested and she did not deal with it. She did not, but all the fears and all the stuff, that's the anger and the self-loathing and all that, that's stored in her healing center, which could be transferred on to your DNA, and that DNA can be transferred to a next person. So they have done studies that even if you haven't experienced molestation, you have the symptoms of somebody who has been molested because it was handed down through your DNA. Now, you can rewrite the program. You can rewrite the program. And like I said, with this K, the psych-k, I am obsessed with it. I'm going to learn more about it. I'm going to learn for myself. I'm going to learn for all of us, and I'm going to share it with you. Bring some teachers on, which you can rewrite the program. Doesn't matter how old the program is. And I am so excited to share this with you. We'll share how to do it, how to maybe find a practitioner. Whatever it is time. It is time to let it go. And it's time for me to leave because I've got a full day ahead of me. But let me see. Sharon, are you saying something here? Let's see. Thank you, Lillian, for your love, your wisdom, and time. Thank you, Sharon, for acknowledging me. You know, that is a love language that I have. Time and acknowledgement. Touch. Those are my love languages. So thank you so much. I really appreciate you loving me back. And Victoria's scripture says that it passes down to the third and fourth. Absolutely. The sins of our fathers are handed down to 4 generations down. Absolutely. This is, you take the Bible, you take our lives, you take all this stuff, and you can put it together. You can't just compartmentalize it. We could compartmentalize it, but it doesn't. We had last week, we talked about dyslexia with Susan McCrossan, and she talked about how we need to integrate the brain. If you're all right, all left, we need to integrate the brain. And she has a way of integrating it. So there's so many different ways to achieve something different. So the question is, what are you willing to do? What are you willing to do? Become vulnerable? Are you willing to take a stand for what you believe in? Or are you willing to stand for somebody else and say, how can I best support you? I didn't realize that I was hurting you when I said these things. I know that made you feel horrible, whether you agree with it or not. It's not the point. Whether you intend it or not is not the point. The fact that it happened, how did I create it? What's the gifts and lessons? What's going to be different? And how can I use this for the greater good? The classroom is my greater good. My children, my husband, all the things in our life is for the greater good. Romans 8, my favorite. All things work out for the good of all. Not just me, not just you. Find the purpose. And even if you can't find the purpose, maybe you can go to someone. As a life coach, I can help people all the time. You can reach out to me. You can go to my coaching page. My rates are very reasonable. Or you can just listen to the classroom, and it's free, unless you want to donate and become a teacher's pet. So, and you're welcome to all of you who are saying thank you. And I am always excited to see you all in the classroom. It is time for me to go. If you have any questions or comments, please help us grow the classroom. Like us, make a comment below, share it. Maybe you share it with somebody that you had a falling out with and say, hey, can we do this together? Use me as a vessel by which you seek reconciliation. And again, start from a place of vulnerability. And that's it. Simple. But if you are in the ego and want to be right, look good, be in control, or what's the other one? Look good. Did I say that one already? So it's look good, control, be right, or comfortable. Those are the 4 ways that you can tell if you're in your ego. You want to look good. Oh yeah, I'll do it. Don't do it. I'm going to do this or this and that, or I'm in with you, and don't do a thing. I just want to look good. I want to say the right things. And that this could be a class in its own. The second one is be in control. That's a tough one. Being in control of everything is an illusion. You're not in control, and you just need to let it go. And there are processes for that. Be right. man, I grew up in a family full of right fighters, and I became a right fighter too. And it's stuff that you've got to work with and be aware of all the time. When you want to be right, stop. Say, how can we be love? Then the fourth one is comfortable. Comfortable can kill you. Comfortable can kill you. Some people are comfortable getting beaten every night. Some people are comfortable drinking and numbing. Some people are comfortable. Life begins outside your comfort zone. So I hope that this class has been helpful and that it will help release you, set you free, and help the classroom grow by sharing, liking, inviting to everybody you know. Until next time, we'll see each other tomorrow. See ya. Bye. Bye.